Emily was 15 years old, and had been using a cane for as long as she could remember. She had a condition called juvenile arthritis, which made her joints hurt and her legs feel weak sometimes. The cane helped her walk, but it also made her feel different from the other kids at school. Emily was a quiet girl. She didn't like to draw too much attention to herself. Instead, she spent her time reading books filled with adventures and faraway places. When she wasn't reading, she was drawing in her notebook, little sketches of animals, flowers, and sometimes people she saw around her. Her school wasn't very easy for Emily. It wasn't a place where everyone felt welcome. There were groups of kids who stuck together, and it was hard for Emily to find a spot where she really fit in. The halls were noisy, and sometimes she felt like she was invisible, like no one saw her or cared to know her. The cane made her stand out even more. Some kids stared, others whispered behind her back, and Emily always tried to keep her head down so she wouldn't be noticed. She walked slowly, careful not to trip, and wished every day that things could be different. Emily didn't want to be seen as weak or different. She just wanted to live her life without feeling scared or alone, but the world around her was not kind, and soon things were about to change in a way she never expected. When the new school year started, a girl named Megan came to Emily's school. Megan was loud and confident. She quickly became popular and seemed to enjoy the attention. But there was something sharp in her smile, something that made Emily uneasy. At first, Megan didn't notice Emily, but after a few days she started to make fun of her. It began with small things, calling Emily names like Grandma because of her cane, or making jokes about how slow she walked. Megan's two closest friends laughed along, and soon other kids started to join in. One day, in the crowded hallway, Megan and her friends stood near Emily as she walked by. Megan kicked Emily's cane hard, making Emily stumble. The hall filled with laughter. Emily wanted to cry but held back tears. She felt frozen, helpless. The teachers were too far away to hear what was happening. Other students saw what happened but didn't say anything. Some laughed, some looked away. No one stood up for Emily. It made her feel even smaller, like she was all alone. Every day, Megan found new ways to make Emily's life harder. She would block her path, trip her, or push her books off her desk. Megan's cruelty wasn't just in front of Emily, she even posted mean comments about her on social media. Emily's heart hurt in a way she had never felt before. She began to dread going to school. The place where she should feel safe felt like a trap. She wanted to disappear. At home, Emily barely said a word about what was happening. She didn't want to worry her parents or seem weak, but inside, the bullying was breaking her down bit by bit. Emily thought maybe this was just how things were, that she would always have to live in fear, but deep down, a small part of her hoped for a way out, something, anything, to help her stand tall again. One afternoon, Emily was walking down the school hallway when she suddenly tripped. Her cane slipped on the smooth floor, and she fell awkwardly to the ground. She tried to get up quickly, but it was too late. Someone had caught the whole thing on their phone. Later that day, Emily saw the video. It was all over social media. Kids at school were laughing, sending her messages, making fun of her in the comments. The worst part was hearing the cruel voices in the video, calling her names and laughing at her pain. That night, Emily locked herself in her room and cried like she never had before. The tears felt heavy, but they were also a kind of release. She felt humiliated and alone, like the whole world was against her. Her mom knocked softly, and came inside. She sat beside Emily and wrapped her arms around her. "I'm so sorry this is happening," she said quietly. "But you're stronger than you think." Emily shook her head, barely able to speak. "I just want it to stop." Her mom looked into her eyes and said something that stuck with Emily. "Maybe it's time to try something new, something that can help you feel strong. Have you ever thought about self-defense classes?" Emily wasn't sure. The idea scared her at first. Could she really learn to protect herself? Would it even help? But that night, something inside her shifted. Maybe it was hope. Maybe it was a small spark telling her she didn't have to be afraid forever. The next day, Emily decided to find out. Emily walked into the self-defense studio feeling nervous. The room was bright, with mats covering the floor and mirrors on the walls. Other students were warming up, some looked strong and confident. Others, like her, seemed unsure. The instructor, Sensei Nora, was a tall woman with kind eyes and a firm voice. She greeted Emily with a warm smile. "Welcome, Emily, you're brave for being here." Emily wasn't used to being called brave. It made her chest feel tight, but also a little proud. The first class was hard. Emily's body wasn't used to moving like this. She had to learn how to balance without her cane, how to fall safely, and how to stand strong even when she felt weak inside. Sensei Nora noticed Emily struggling but didn't give up on her. She showed her how to use her cane as part of her defense instead of seeing it as a weakness. In the class, Emily met other kids with all sorts of challenges, some with hearing difficulties, others with physical disabilities, and some who just wanted to feel stronger. For the first time in a long time, Emily felt like she belonged. After the class, her legs were sore, and she was exhausted. But something else was different. A quiet feeling inside that said she could do this, she could get stronger. Over the next few weeks, Emily kept going back. She learned how to throw punches and blocks. She practiced breathing deeply, to stay calm. And slowly she started to believe that maybe, just maybe, she didn't have to be scared all the time. She still worried about what Megan would do when she saw this new Emily. But for now, she was focused on herself. For the first time, Emily felt a small flicker of hope. Things might change. Week by week, Emily grew stronger. The muscles in her legs felt firmer, and her arms gained more control. But the biggest change was inside her. She began to carry herself differently. No longer did she keep her head down or shrink away from others. Instead, she walked with a quiet confidence. At school, some students noticed the change. Emily wasn't as quiet as before. She spoke up in class a little more, and even smiled when she saw friends in the hallway. She still used her cane, but now it was a tool she understood better, not a sign of weakness. Megan, the girl who had bullied her, didn't like the new Emily. One afternoon, Megan sneered as Emily passed by and muttered, "Look who thinks she's tough now." Her friends laughed behind their hands, but Emily didn't respond. She kept walking, steady and calm. In her self-defense classes, Emily learned not just how to fight, but how to stand up for herself with words. She practiced saying, "Stop" loudly and clearly. She learned to keep her balance even when pushed. One day, after class, Sensei Nora told her, "You're doing great, you're stronger than you realize." Emily smiled. It felt good to hear that. Back at school, Megan's bullying didn't stop completely, but it slowed down. Kids began to whisper about how Emily wasn't as easy a target anymore. Some even admired her bravery in secret. Emily was still cautious. She didn't want to let her guard down. But inside, she felt something new. Hope. And a little bit of pride. For the first time, Emily wasn't just surviving. She was starting to live. One day, in the crowded school hallway, Megan decided to try and embarrass Emily again. She waited near Emily's locker with a group of friends. As Emily walked by, Megan reached out to trip her. But this time, Emily was ready. Instead of stumbling, Emily stayed balanced. She didn't fall. She looked Megan in the eye and said calmly, "Please stop." The hallway fell silent. No one expected Emily to speak back. Megan laughed loudly, but Emily didn't back down. Frustrated, Megan tried to shove Emily. But Emily stepped back quickly and held her ground. She didn't fight back with her fists, but with her courage. At that moment, a teacher who had been nearby saw what was happening. She stepped in and told Megan and her friends to leave Emily alone. The students watching looked surprised. The girl who used to be the easy target was now standing tall and defending herself. Megan's friends started to lose respect for her. Some even whispered that Megan was jealous of Emily's strength. From that day on, the bullying slowed down even more. Emily knew it might not stop completely, but she no longer felt powerless. She was learning to protect herself. Not just with moves she learned in class, but with her voice and her courage. For the first time, school didn't feel like a place of fear. It was a place where Emily could be strong. After the hallway incident, rumors started to spread about Megan. Some students remembered hearing that Megan hadn't always been the tough, popular girl she seemed to be. One day, a video surfaced from Megan's old school. It showed her struggling with a speech disorder and being laughed at by other kids. Megan had once been the one who felt scared and bullied. The students began to see Megan differently. Some felt sorry for her. Others stopped following her lead. Megan, who used to tease Emily so easily, now kept her distance. She no longer made fun of Emily or anyone else. Emily didn't feel happy about Megan's secret. She felt sad. She understood now that sometimes bullies hurt others because they've been hurt themselves. But Emily also knew she didn't have to let Megan's past control her own life. She had changed. She was stronger. Emily kept going to her self-defense classes. She felt stronger every day, not just in her body but in her heart. School wasn't perfect, but she no longer felt afraid. She joined the art club and started sharing her drawings with other students. Sometimes, she even raised her hand in class. It wasn't easy, but it felt good to be heard. One afternoon, Emily saw a younger girl in the hallway. The girl had a leg brace and looked nervous as some students whispered and laughed nearby. Emily walked up to her, smiled gently, and said, "Wanna walk with me?" The girl nodded, and together they moved down the hallway. One cane, one brace, side by side. Emily realized she didn't have to be invisible anymore. She could be a friend and a protector for others who felt different or alone. Her cane wasn't just a tool for walking anymore. It was a symbol of her strength, and now, Emily was ready to face whatever came next.